I don't play with it because Yahweh had come in the time of need. I had no other options. I had nobody else. There was nobody else to come to me in my time of need, and Yahweh came and changed the course. I'm believing on him through everything that is to come upon this earth. Oh, hallelujah. Shabbat Shalom, Israel. Bless all of you all who are out on YouTube watching this video, wherever you may receive this video from a friend, a saint. Let this word today bless your heart. You had to have already been keeping up with where we are in this series, because we are designing, we are asking, we are searching and seeking, because we do know that Yahweh has spoke throughout the generations of the beginning and the end. And in fact, we had a teaching from last week that we did not film, but I'm going to turn that teaching into a round table with the brothers, and so you all be looking for that. It's about really being restored and understand just how sound and how deep the word of Yah is, that if we would just gravitate towards and grab a hold of it, we would be in his will without a shadow of a doubt. Hallelujah. All right, we are back at Jacob's Trouble, part 3. And saints, I'm asking you today to really have your mind on focus as we pay attention. Because a lot of these things you have already, we talked about, you've heard, and I know it's been a while since we have dove over into this study, because a few things that we have been doing here in Straightway, Kansas City over the past few weeks, so we have missed some time with it, and so I know some of these things have slipped our mind, because after all, you know, we are human, we people, and we hear it, and after we hear it, it's no longer of any use. Is brother, keep it. It was good while we heard it, wasn't it? Hallelujah. But we're going to dig over into this study, and so far, for those of you all who can remember what we have been sharing about Jacob's trouble, you know, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts, Brother Snow, about what we have been receiving?
I mean, it's the same message. You know, Jacob's trouble, that's been running together with some other scriptures we've been reading. Other times we've been doing, you know, listening in on the services and stuff like that. But, you know, basically is how Israel, you know, they was told they were going to fall into sin and go against the Father, break his commandments and go into captivity. And, you know, in Jacob's trouble, talks about how, you know, the same people that they had fell into captivity to, those people are going to be taken captive, and then Israel is going to be tried, you know. Just like how they went into Egypt and came out to the wilderness.
Brother Miguel, what's some of your thoughts on Jacob's trouble?
It's definitely evident that all these things are still being perpetuated to this day, but more so, it's a part of the Father's full will.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it plays a vital role in his people turning back, because if you're not going through the affliction, if you're not in the fire, then there's really no desire to wholeheartedly search out for the Father, because he's the one that's going to deliver his people. But we have to have understanding as to what exactly are we being delivered from. And that everything that's happening not only is it because of our disobedience, but it's according to his will. Nothing that's happening that's not according to his will is perfected. Things being perfected.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Right, saints. Well, let us dig into Jacob's trouble part 3 so that we really get a chance to adhere to trying to find out. Because what I wanted to do in this study that we're doing is I want us to be able to go and search out and seek for ourselves. Because this is what happens, saints. You know, and again, you know, me and my father today, we was talking about the very thing that keep people in bondage. Some of y'all don't study. You just want to hear me talk, but then you don't study nothing. That's how busy you are. I'm not your salvation.
True.
That's why when I bring correction to you, you don't understand, because ain't nothing in your head as a reference point. You going astray, just like Israel. So let's look in this study and see what we got going here, saints. All right. First, I want to say, Barak all Israel, to the 12 tribes, keep the commandments and the testimonies of Yeshua HaMashiach. And I'm saying that for a reason, because, you know, Israel is being restored, whether we know it or not. But it's got to be according to the will of the Most High Yah. All right? All right. All right. All right. Anyway. At all? Hold up, bro. Cut this up. Jesus. No, don't turn it. No, you gotta put that thing up there. Excuse me.
I got something to put that window up. It'll cover the whole thing for you.
All right. But anyway, while they get that together, I'll leave it on that screen. You know, in us understanding this trouble that's coming forth, even the people that I'm sending it to, like my auntie and other people. I asked one of my clients yesterday, what did he think about what he saw? Now, I want you to keep this in mind. These people ain't in the way. And they are able to pinpoint what's going on around us. Sure. Do I need this off or what? Same thing. You need to turn that light up above your head, above your head.
It's a glare right there. I don't know where that glare is.
It's probably from the door.
What's this? Somebody coughed on this? Is this paused or what? It's still recording? I'm gonna have to go and dig this out. Where's the time at? On the thing. Where we at?
10.
At 10 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
11 minutes.
Do I need to cut this out?
No.
All right. Somebody write that down so I don't forget. Make note of that.
It was like from 5 minutes to now 11.
All right, here we go. All right, we good to go. All right, saints, we're living in times where we see the trouble spoken of by the holy prophets coming to pass. Now, can you attest to that, Mother? That these times we live in, is there anything that you've seen spoken out of the mouth of the prophets being brought to pass in this day? Well, you don't have to go in specific, but but you do know. All right. Israel, there is a message in Yah's word that should move the Ruach to guide the righteous to restoration. Now, just think about that, because I just got through bringing or shedding some light on that. All right? But when I say this, Brother Steve-O, I want you to speak up. What do you think is being said when I make a statement like this? Israel, there is a message in Yah's word that should move the Ruach to guide the righteous to restoration.
I hear a warning. Wisdom.
All right, I want y'all to hear this. Remember when Nebuchadnezzar had a dream, and he wanted to know the meaning of that dream. But what did he do in order to find that out? Well, not Nebuchadnezzar.
He called on his wise men.
He summoned all the wise men, right? He summoned his courts. And what did he say to them? He said, what?
Tell them the dream and to tell them the interpretation of the dream.
All right. Now, he wanted them to tell him his dream and the interpretation. Now, this is what I'm talking about right there. I'm going to read my statement again. Israel, there is a message in Yah's word. But how you going to find it out? Huh? Because watch this. The message in Yah's word should move the Ruach that's in you. Right? To act accordingly to what Yah is doing in restoration. Just like he did in Daniel's day when everybody was getting ready to be killed. Yah had a servant in Daniel or in Daniel that was in the kingdom of the Chaldeans. And nobody knew that dream. So the spirit that was dwelling, that was on Daniel, caused him to make known that Yahweh was truly a Elohim of the Hebrews. That Daniel was serving a true Elohim. Because how else you going to get it? See, and that's what I mean. See, restoration is all going to be led by the Spirit. People should be able to tell restoration because the Ruach that's in you should show that you are being restored. That the people are being restored. Not outward adornment. Not fringes. Not loud speech. Not he said. Right?
That's right.
So in order for us to find out what Yah was speaking to us in this end time, that's where we got to be. Wicked people. We out here. So nobody said nothing, right? Nobody wicked. That's why we don't have a yali sorrow about ourselves. We fine. We can ride, we made it. Keep the commandments right. Right? All right. Israel is in trouble because we are spiritually bound up and are unable to see the salvation of Yah, especially in the upcoming times. Where do you think salvation is going to come from in the upcoming times? Huh, Sister Ivy? Because you had your fringes on when they got ready to cut your head off? What? See, in these end times, the Holy Spirit is supposed to lead you to maintain the testimony unto death. Right? And if you don't, you lose salvation, right? You got it?
Yes, sir.
That's the importance of what we're talking about here. We're going to get to it. I know it's a boring message, ain't it? Boring and slow. This is definitely one of the reasons we are seeking to understand the prophecies that Daniel mentioned about in the latter times. Because we want to know if our thought process line up. We want to know if the Spirit is truly opening up our understanding. Because if we the holy people, right, then who is he talking to? He talking to us, right? Well, let's find it out. All right, here's something that I came across when I was looking out over the web here over the recent days, and Infowars.com has presented a series of events that to the world seem to be prophetic in the minds of the Gentiles. Because, see, people are always trying to put things together. Now, that's fine. That's okay to do so, but one, is it correct? And is it truly a message to the people whom the message was given for? Right? That makes sense, Brother Keith? So let's look at some of these things here. All right. This is what was said on InfoWars. Now, make sure I'm stating this because none of this stuff that's up here, whether it be dates, whether it be specific things that is to occur, all right? You know, at the time that we're going to see here on the screen, none of this is what I'm saying. I'm just giving you literally what was listed. All right? So again, is this what I said is going to happen? So if you're watching this video, don't say he a false prophet because this ain't what I said. All right? I repeat. Who did I say said it? InfoWars. All right? Give them a second witness. Who did I say said these things were going to happen? Y'all hear that, right? So out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, it sounds like about 20. Know that I didn't say that I said this is what was going to happen. All right. Now, August 21st. This is an event where they said the Great American Eclipse is going to take place. Now, around this event, people are preparing for power outages. People are preparing for all sorts of mystical things to take place on this eclipse. Some say that this is a sign that is foretold in the scriptures about the latter days of some things that's going to happen to let us know that we are at the nearing of the end of time. Many say a lot. I'm literally giving you what's listed. On August 23rd, a FEMA exercise known as Earth X 27 is supposed to take place. All right? Now, I want you to go look that up to see what it is, what's in parentheses. Because what I do say that there are things out that do show that the signs of the times is upon us, and that the tribulation, the trouble, Jacob's trouble is on us. That's one of the reasons why I included it on here. All right. On the next screen, I got 2 events on this screen. September 11th. All right. Of this year is going to be the 16th anniversary of 9/11. All right. And some say that this is a marker that marks a significance for those who behind the scenes that's carrying out that they're getting ready to strike again. Again, we don't know. Just like Daniel, he didn't know what the king's intention was to say he was going to kill everybody, but he knew one that he can call on. Right? September 23rd. The Revelation 12 sign. We talked about that. Remember we pulled that up? And we looked at the alignment of constellations and certain things that's supposed to have been lined up in the womb of the virgin that she was about to give birth. I remember we looked at that a little while back. See, they got all of these things is supposed to be happening this year. And I'm going to show you something that how they tying all this together when we get to one of these other screens. Right here. September 29th, Yom Kippur begins at sunset, and it will conclude, or it concludes on September 30th. Of course, September 30th will be the end of a 40-day period that begun back on the day of the Great American Eclipse on August 21st. So from August 21st to September 30th, it's supposed to be a time of watching. There was other things that they had listed. I didn't go through all of those things, but they listed this time frame, this 40 days. Now, what is Yom Kippur? Yom Kippur. Atonement. Right? And we've been paying attention to the feast days. Yom Kippur is a day of significance. It's the solemn feast, right? Huge day of significance. So, September 23rd is supposed to be the day that all of them things supposed to be lined up in the constellation. And, you know, meaning that the virgin is about to bring forth, about to give birth. You remember we watched that, Brother Steve-O?
Yes, sir.
Now, we don't know. See, that's why we're talking about all of these things. Because, see, we be so asleep and caught up in our day-to-day that, but it's people that are recording and jotting things down. Now, before we move on, Jasmine Roberts, do this bring any concern to your mind, these things that I said?
I mean, it definitely makes you think. However, you know, the Father gave us signs. He gave us warnings. And we don't know the time of the hour, but we should know the signs of the time. But it still brings about, you need to be prepared for anything that happens. So, preparedness.
Got you. What does it bring to mind to you, Brother Dan? Or it don't really do nothing for you?
It does something that definitely makes me think. You know, we need to make sure we be prepared, even though, you know, we don't know if that's true or not, but, you know, just make me think.
Well, I believe some of these things happen, and everybody that say that it ain't no outer space, they've never been out of space. Once you think about it, where do they get them satellite photos where they're able to snap overhead pictures? Google Earth, where they can just watch you from wherever their position is. Where is that coming from? Where at? Where? Huh?
Airplanes?
You think it's airplanes doing it? Hmm? I'm just throwing it out there. I ain't giving you a name. I'm just asking you a question. Because there are things that transpire, and the reason why I say it, because I'm looking at how the enemy is ramped up. You know, they have this plane that I was reading about, that this thing by far that the U.S. has, it is probably one of the most technologically advanced pieces of weaponry that we have in this country. And it do some amazing things. I mean, I'm talking about in terms of tracking down locations, intel. They can fly that thing over some places and get some intel, but you wouldn't believe it. And so that adds to the trouble. See, we don't know. See, we got signs in the heavens that's supposed to be taking place, right? That Yah said, do not be what?
Dismayed.
Dismayed. Been speaking to us. But we do know that Jeremiah and Daniel both spoke of the troubles that's to come. Alright? So I want to keep this in mind as we look. We don't know what this 40 days from August 21st to September 30th is going to be about. We don't know. But we do have one we can go to, right?
Yes, sir.
That's right.
And that's what we're going to do. See, we don't know. That's why this study couldn't be no more pertinent at this time. Because we got to remain conscious. All right? Israel, we need to know what Yah is truly doing for Israel as the signs of the time come upon us. We need to know this. All right? So, as we get into part 3, all right, we're going to look at a few things that kind of guide where we're headed. All right? These are some scriptures. Leave that up there for a while so that people can get these scriptures recorded, because all of these are important. All right? We talked out of Jubilees last week a little bit about restoration. We also, that was good Jubilee. That we read. But we talked out of Jubilees last week because that it was clear that the Most High already had the end and the beginning. It's like he was telling Moshe when he was giving him the law and telling him the whole plight of Israel in the book of Jubilees, right? In Daniel, this is where we have the mystery that needs to be figured out. This is what we've been studying. This is what we've been looking at in terms of the 70 weeks. We looked at the prophecy in Zechariah. All right? You got Luke and you got Matthew, both talking about the generations all the way up to the Messiah. We got Maccabees and Esdras, both talking about some importance in things that took place during the 70 weeks. And then we have some prophetic things right here in Haggai that make us think. All right? Everybody got that?
No.
All right. Mother took a picture that she about to send to you all in group me. All right. We're gonna go ahead. All right, let's roll, brother. All right. Here's these dates that I gave you all a while back when we were just having the discussion that I told you that was going to be in the study. This is in the study. We got notes for this. But again, when we look, these are people who ruled, starting with Nebuchadnezzar, who started with the dream and asked who could interpret. Then one of the servants of the Most High Yah, whom had desired to seek the Most High about the prophecy given to Yirmiyahu, came forth and showed himself worthy and showed the righteousness of the Most High to another nation. All right? This is where this time was. Daniel was concerned about when this time frame was going to end for Israel, because he knew Israel was a great nation. Just like in this day, we are understanding. Because people are coming into the knowledge of the truth, and we want to know, when is this captivity going to be over with? The disciples wanted to know in their day, when was the kingdom of Israel going to be restored to the holy people? See, that, if you ain't never been in bondage, that ain't a question for you. You just keep living how you live, right? So we have these dates. Darius and Cyrus, Artaxerxes. All right. You got Alexander the Great, Antiochus Epiphanes, Caesar Augustus, Tiberius, Nero, Herod Antipas, all right, and Pontius Pilate. Why do we have all of these people? Because they go from the span of prophecies going forth. They span from the time of desolation of the 70 weeks. They span all the way up until these people who rule. They span up until the time of the Messiah being taken up, being crucified. Okay? That's why we have all of these rulers here listed. And we wanted to kind of get time frames because it kind of shows us, it gives us markers in which some of these things took place. So now as you seek the Most High and He give wisdom, then we can start to see where these things lay, where they fit. All right, hallelujah. We last left off seeking to get understanding on the 70 weeks talked about in Daniel. We're going to see today if we can creep a little further. Is that all right, saints?
Yes, sir.
All right, hallelujah. Everybody need to stand up and do about 4 jumping jacks? I think 4 would do. You got 4 in you, Mother Moore? You got 4 in you, do. Hallelujah. All right. So now, here we go. We're going back to the aspects of Daniel chapter 9, verse 25 through 27. Here's what we have. We have the going forth of the commandment to restore and rebuild Jerusalem. Now I want you to pay attention to something in that word. What word in that statement right there, that first marker right there, what word in that stands out to you? Huh? Restore? Restore everybody?
Amen.
Now that word right there, Brother Keith, that word commandment stand out to me. Commandment. How many people in here give out commandments?
Everybody.
Don't mean they mean that, no, do.
No.
I want y'all to keep that in mind, okay? You ready to dig in? But I want y'all to keep that in mind. The other thing in Daniel 9, 25 through 27, until the anointed prince comes. Anointed prince. Was Yahshua the only anointed Messiah? Right? Okay. Then look here. Jerusalem will remain built until 62 weeks of years is complete. So what does that sound like is going to happen? It's going to remain built until it's destroyed. Right? So this was another building up, but it sounds like that it's going to be torn down, what? Again. Is that what it sounds like?
Yes, sir.
You hear me, Brother Mark? All right, hallelujah. All right, let's move on. Now, it says, after the 62 weeks, Mashiach will be cut off. after the 62 weeks, Mashiach will be cut off. So what comes to mind? I'm talking to you people up front, so if it seems like I ain't calling on y'all in the back, I ain't calling on you because you got fans blowing and then y'all talk too low. Alright? What does that mean, Brother Keith? Or what do you think it means? What can you infer? Well, what do you think, Brother Ron?
Early on in the study, when I first read it a long time ago, I was thinking that it meant like separated to, just stop in its track.
Who?
Stopped or separated from it early on. So now.
But who is they talking about? See, that's the thing. See, after 62 weeks, who is Mashiach?
Early on, I was thinking it was the Messiah.
Yeah, so we think it is Yahshua, Jesus, right?
Early on, yeah.
That's what come to mind? Go ahead, Josh. Speak up.
The seed of the Messiah comes to mind.
The seed of Messiah. Well, ha is just
Being
the.
the.
Yeah.
Probably doing the study and it's kind of changing.
All right, let's go to the next one. Now look what it says. It said after the 62 weeks, Messiah or Mashiach will be cut off. The people of the prince will come to destroy the city and the sanctuary. He will make a covenant with leaders for 1 week. He said he will make a covenant with leaders. So now everybody, when you watch all the Revelation movies and what's the name of the movie?
Passion of Christ.
No. Let Gabby answer. No. What's the name of the movies that we watched 8 million times?
Left Behind series.
Left Behind series. Left Behind series. I can tell you what's happening right now.
Right.
If somebody watching without me sitting there, I can just feel it. We can watch it so much. But in all of them movies like Left Behind, they have portrayed that the covenant that was made, that they had all of these different world leaders. But you got to remember this. I want you to keep this in mind. Yah gave a covenant to who? Israel. The covenant is to Israel. And the only way that covenant gets broke is that the leaders who are responsible for keeping that covenant give themselves over to abomination and blasphemy. Therefore, the covenant being broken. All right? And they take on another covenant. Just putting thoughts. Please don't watch this study if you are on YouTube. He said, get your butt off this channel. We ain't here for strife and contention. You just privy enough to be able to watch this study as we walk down as a body to search for the truth. Y'all got it? See, we are in the process of teaching, searching, discerning, and receiving all at once. Even as we sit here and reason some of these things. All right? You got a question, Sister Jack? You just waving your hand, waving it. All right, let me know if you see something. I want to see it too. Hurry up, somebody get back there to that woman with her eyes rolling. No, I'm just joking. People on camera. They're going to see this like, wow. All right. Then it says, half of 1 week, he will put an end to sacrifices, grain offering. You hear that? In 1 week. So now you got to think. We know Yahshua has been cut off, right? When Yahshua came, were they sacrificing? They were sacrificing. After he left, what were they doing? So what's going on there? So then there's a question that when the temple was destroyed in 70 AD, is that when all the sacrificing and grain offering ceased?
It started being released.
Said I go one at a time. You said what, Sister Jasmine?
I said, I mean, it made it more so the natural sacrifices, like giving sacrificing a goat, lamb, whatever. It made that like to none effect because you know Christ had died, so you come to Him as the ultimate sacrifice to Him. You know, and all that stuff.
Supposedly the veil was rent, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sister Gab.
I was going to say, at the commencement of his death, the disciples and the apostles, what they were trying to, their message was telling us that there was no longer any sacrifices because of his death. That's what they were trying to get out to the scattered Israelites in all providences. But this is the reason why you don't sacrifice anymore. Who are you, oh foolish, are you going to be bewitched and thinking that this is what you're supposed to do? But this was the death of the Messiah was for. He was the sacrifice. And then as far as the order of what you have on here, after 62 weeks, Mashiach will be cut off. All of what I'm seeing is that is a culmination of the event. He's telling you first off, these 62 weeks, after that, he gonna be cut off. And then these things right here is what's happening. Not necessarily that these are separate events, but the people of the prince will come to destroy the city and sanctuary. When you look at how our Messiah was killed, our people put him on that stake. We made sure that he was cut off. We came and destroyed the city. We came and destroyed the sanctuary. And we are his people. So that's what I'm seeing that is representing. And he will make a covenant with the leaders for 1 week. All of those are a combination of what was stated as far as the 70 weeks as a whole. These are the things, that the events that were taking place within the 70 weeks as a whole. That's what I'm seeing from that. At half of the week, he will put to end. At the half of the week or at the midst of the time frame within these 70 weeks, he put an end to the sacrifices and the grain offerings by his death. Not necessarily I'm seeing that these are separate events. Because when you put it all together, you can see that when you say 70 weeks, what they've taught us is they merged all of that together. 70 weeks, but they're different. You got 60 in 2 weeks. You got the 1 week. Then you got the 3. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. It's a culmination of one event, but it's speaking to the different signs that you will notice and see within these events happening. So, I mean, that's what I'm seeing from what I
like that. And so what? Because that gives us incentive to go and search deep, because again we got some things here that we're going to read that pulls on where these things possibly may have taken place. Because again, here's what's out there. One, there's 2 sets of 70 weeks. It hadn't repeated itself. Because from a fleshly standpoint, when you look at all the dates of all those people that ruled, then it gives you significance of when these things are supposed to have happened. Now, there's some other pieces to it because Yeshua talked about when you see these signs in heaven. Now, the sun shall not give his light. And the moon what? Shall be darkened. And the stars from the heaven shall do what? So what's the difference between that and the total eclipse? Huh?
There's light still in an eclipse. There is still light.
Okay. That's what I mean, because people are putting stuff together. And the stars ain't falling. Right? You see what I'm saying? But if you just read halfway into it and you have not tied yourself into where Yah has given you peace in his word on what has been spoken, then you can see how you be deceived and be misled. This is why Israel, this is why we got to study. Show ourselves approval. We don't know what. We got all of these things we heard that we just mixing in, bunching up. If it sounds like something we heard. That's why I don't move on what I heard. I don't move on just here. Well, I sit. You hear me? I watch. Alright, let's move on. Got your wheels turned a little bit, Keith? Hallelujah. Alright. So let's see if we can put a time frame to this in order to see when the 70 weeks started and when did it end. So supposedly this is supposed to be 490 years, right? Worth of events taking place. And the question is, then, if it's 490 years worth of events taking place, was it all consecutive? If not consecutive, because we found out last time that if the Messiah was born, and you had Nebuchadnezzar way back there in 6 something BC. Supposedly Christ was born about not 1 or 2 AD or 1 BC. All right, let's roll. We also must see how it affects us in the latter day, because there are important pieces to the restoration of the holy people. All right. All right. Give us a second. Sister Ida, you tired of me calling on you? Or why you left?
No, they over there acting up. I'm gonna get over there by then.
Hallelujah. I know y'all watching videos. Y'all hear some sound. Followed by little children praising. We're just being obedient. Hallelujah, right? All right. I want us to pay attention to something, because hear what we about to watch, all right? More so what we about to hear. I remember when myself and Sister Gabby, we have this actual tape. It's on VHS. And we probably watched this or heard this maybe about 7 years ago, huh? The more it could have been about, let me see, he's about to be 10. He's about 2. We had this tape, and I remember hearing, I said, did you hear what he said? Or one of us said, and it was a trip. Because it had to be right around the time we was coming in the way, right? Because we was having...
Yeah.
Yep.
Already.
Because Tara brought all them tapes over. We wasn't no longer fellowshipping over there. We was by ourselves.
This was in Lee Summit.
This was in Lee Summit?
This was in Lee Summit.
So it was right before then.
We didn't know anything. We were just searching and...
But I remember this caught my attention. All right? Whenever it was, I remember it caught my attention. Now I want y'all to listen good to this, because this is somebody who is saying something. And I even looked at the comments that people were saying about calling them false prophets, and calling them, I don't know. People just angry today, especially when you ain't got the right message. All right, I want y'all to listen to this. All right, I want you to hit play on that video. Oh, Lord.
And some of the questions that were asked about the black race, can I just add my 2 cents?
Let me see if I can get this up there. I like that.
And some of the questions that were asked about the black race, can I just add my 2 cents? I know something about black people because I was raised around black people. I'm a white guy, I think. My family, you never really know. You just show up at the hospital and take whatever color comes. But there's been Satan has tried to destroy the black race for many, many years. And I want to tell you why, my opinion. I was telling Brother Bill about that in the back. I am an avid student of reading. I have a phenomenal library in every kind of subject you can think of, and beside the Bible. And I realized, and I studied a lot of different nationalities and creeds, and I found that the only race that ever did this was the black race. That we're in slavery for over 400 years. Yet there is such a terrible thing today on black violence. You see it, you hate for night to come because a young black man's going to die. Somebody's going to get shot, something terrible. And I thought, why is there such animosity among the black people for black people? And then when I studied, I began to realize that for 400 years, the black man and the black woman was put in slavery. You were hung, burned, raped, shot, stolen from. Yet it's the only race that sang Amazing Grace while it happened. Never blamed God. Still taught your children about Jesus Christ and Him crucified. While you were being raped, hung, put on fire, destroyed. The only race that literally said, we will not blame God for this terrible tragedy. Sang Amazing Grace, wonderful spirituals. Because Satan knew there was great talent given to the black race. And he thought he could destroy you by burning you, hanging you, killing you, denying your children education, everything they could possibly think of. But you still kept giving God glory. You still kept singing Amazing Grace. Still teaching your children. So he said the only way you can destroy this race is from within. And now his last bastion of what he's trying to do is cause you to hate each other. But I'll tell every black man, woman, boy, and girl, if you go back to singing Amazing Grace, he's going to go to hell. You'll quit killing each other. If you go back to your ancestors that refuse to deny God and His grace, then this junk will stop. I'm Jesse Duplantis, and I approve this message.
All right. All right. Now, before we talk about this string right here, what did that do for you, man? Hearing that.
He's on the right track. If we return to the Father, these things would stop. That's exactly what they're saying.
They would stop. But if we return back to the Father, then we would understand these times the more so. We would understand the past the more so. See, this is why we're doing this study. See, I thought this was appropriate for us because we are trying to get to a result to understand what is this book saying to Israel. Because this book is to who? Israel. This book is to Israel, so we got to understand what is being said. See, people don't even have the full, quite understanding of what's going on, can see the things that I have seen all along. I've always said, look at all the gifts and talents we have. See, I talked to y'all a time ago about when I first came into the way. I sat up one night, I don't know, Sister Gabby was in the back, laying down, I don't know what she was doing, but I was in the front room, in the living room. I was watching all, it said it was like 1,700 games in California. And I was watching on what they was using to bring these people together. Now, me being new in the way at that time, I'm like, I have found this true. And I know the curses are real. They don't know nothing about the curses. But people do know that there is a problem within the black people that's been going on for a long time. It's been going a long time, Keith. See, this is what y'all have forgot. Because some of y'all, see, they erased your mind good enough where now you let your guard down like it ain't going to happen again. I don't never let my guard down. I don't care who I'm talking to. I can smile all I want, but I'm ready 24/7. 24/7, Danny. I ain't just, if I'm out doing somebody's yard, or, you know, I was going out there with Pops, we doing them yards out there. I was out there in New York strapped up. 'Cause I don't know who coming out the house.
True.
You come out here calling me a nigga. And trip we finna have, it's gonna be on right here. Not because the word nigga ain't got nothing to do with that, but if you come and think you're gonna destroy me, dude, the word already teaches us to be prepared. See, that's why I've been talking to y'all for a long time. See, when to understand prophecy is to be prepared. Because then there's wisdom from who? The Most High Yah to Israel on how to be situated. What not to worry about, what to look for. What not to be confused over. Right? But here it is, Jesse Duplantis said something powerful. He said Satan been trying to destroy the black people for a long time, through every generation. I mean, the black, it's been, he said it. But y'all said that these signs and these wonders was going to be upon you and upon who?
You'll see forever.
You hear me? See, he just saying, because he looking, I mean, it's like, when you see black people laid over, shot, dead, with their hands hanging down, arm toe off, that's astonishment, ain't it? You're like, look at it. See, this is why I say what I say. I ain't against the church, you know, because I'm watching the favor. Even Pastor Lindsay said when Roots was up there last week bringing them watermelons, and I told him what Tony Temple want to do with the black churches. We meeting Monday morning about this at 9. He said, Pastor, and I want you to get the Hebrew Israelites in. I said, the right keyword. Well, yeah, we're going to be there. Because you got to see it. See, and at that point, it's all about light. Because people looking at it, watching, see, it ain't about outward adornment. It's about what you know and how that is represented and reflected in what's inside. Has it been planted? That's why I say I got a lot more stuff on my head than be playing games with people. Sitting up in vain babblings or debates with people over nothing. Arguing points of the law. Mute points. Mute points. That's what these folks do all over the internet. That's why I don't touch it, because I know where I'm at. His mother, I would jump through one of them screens. You hear me? In the name. I'm coming through that screen. So I ain't even finna wrestle, because if I got my hands on one of these niggas and I'm not letting go, but I'm gonna look you right in your eyes and every bit of the breath go out. And I'm a strong Hebrew boy. I'm strong. Well, I go to that gym, slam the waist around, so any one of them cats, we stand out there talking. And it go beyond talking. I ain't been trying to prove nothing to you, but if we lock up, you got something on your hands. Boy, I promise you got something on your hands. And that's just what it is. So I choose not to, because look that's where people driving. So I push past to restoration. I'm pushing past the restoration because it's a message that got to get out. That's why Yahshua said, dust your feet up. Right? Keep going. See, I hear plain, Keith. I hear real plain. Make a joyful noise. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. I hear plain, bro. He meant. What did he mean then? Right? Folks get on your nerves, don't they? Get on your freaking nerves. Right. Good sound word from you, right? All right, we saw that up there on that last screen. Very important books that hold key history related to the 490 year period within the 70 weeks. Now, these things that we're going to read did happen in between the time frame that we saw with Nebuchadnezzar all the way down to Antiochus and some of them other people. These things did happen. And somebody thought it was a good idea to take it out. All right? Like the book of Maccabees. Derek, you know I'm going to get you this series. Ryan, you know I'm going to give it to you too. So, because I know y'all been watching. So I'm calling your name out. Because this is one of the books that have been removed. This is a book that has been hidden from your sight. Because it got a lot of history in that. When you start putting 2 plus 2 together, it don't equal 3. It equal what? 4. And then when you find out it equal 4, it's like, it's been 4 all along. But the world try to get you to believe that it equal 2 plus 2 equal 2. You be counting. How is it equal 2? Right? That's how they do it the Sabbath, don't it? Right. It say first day, but you like, even Hebrews talk about the 7th day, the wise standing on the 7th. Right? All right. Here's another book right here. The book of Esdras. We're going to read in that. That book right there, what we're going to read out of there, we're going to find something out about Zerubbabel. All right? Meaning the seed of Babel. Now, I don't know how true it is, but in some of my research, I found out that some kind of way some of the Edomites became a part of the family lineage of Maccabees. Y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
But that's for whole other thing. We not, ain't nothing we talking. I'm just making that a sidebar, side note. All right? Let's go. Now, some mention that Martin Luther was responsible for removing these books back in 1534. Not Martin Luther King.
A white man.
Yeah, not Martin. I mean, he just got shot in 63. 63.
Come on, Chris.
Come on, Chris. No, he said 2 plus 2. He said one of them. You be rolling, whatever. 40 years ago. All right. Others track the reason down to the Apocrypha not being inspired by Yah. There are some Hebrew Israelite camps that say the Apocrypha is just a bunch of false doctrine. You heard that before? Yeah, it said witchcraft. We sat with some out there in when we was out at your house. Out there in Raytown. You know? Where you from, Israel of God? Huh?
Which time?
Well, I mean, you know what he said when I first met him. Right? I know y'all want to know who was he talking about? None of your business. None of your business. That's all y'all want to do is slander and smear. All right, here's some truth concerning the Apocrypha. Now watch this. Listen to this. Once the true Israelites read these books, now who's read Wisdom of Solomon? Right? Sirach, y'all read that? Which is Ecclesiasticus? And there's some stuff in there, ain't it?
Yes, it is.
Esdras, especially second Esdras, right?
Oh, man.
Well, when I first got a hold of it, I sat up all night. Me and Sister Gab, we reading that up. We had that book. We done read it till it fell apart. I'm like, what? Here it is. boy, you couldn't even believe the stuff. I said, how they gonna say this when y'all say out of the mouth how many witnesses?
2 or 3.
Right? See, once true Israelites read these books, they find hidden questions to a lifelong search to know what happened to the holy people. Am I right? Come on. Now, here we go. I got $1,000 upstairs for you, Brother Morris. You can give me the answer to this. All right. She's like, I'm going to try. That's wrong, mother. It's going to be held every idle word now, right? Right, so remember that. Every idle word, Josh. Don't be throwing nothing out. Is it Esau? No. It ain't Esau. All right. Now, Messiah the Prince. Messiah the Prince. Yeshua was called the King of the Jews, wasn't he? Didn't they even crown him? Messiah the Prince. So was he the Prince?
No.
Huh? Come on, answer this question.
He's the Prince of Peace.
Well, he was a Prince of
He was the
Peace.
Prince of Peace, King of Kings, Lord of Lords.
So when he came, he didn't rule, but was he already the king?
Not yet. Not that
King been born.
Huh?
King was born.
you wasn't yet the Prince. I mean,
So when is he gonna become the king? So they gonna anoint his head? When he come back, they gonna anoint his head?
Well,
with
the
oil?
Father is. It's in Zechariah.
Yeah. He wasn't
Come
yet.
on.
He will anoint his head. He will give him a new diadem.
Gone.
Hey, I better listen.
Yeah.
So then Yeshua is a prince then right now
Yes, sir.
at this time.
Yes, sir.
Everybody saying that?
Yes.
Yes?
Glory to God.
Huh?
Say glory to
Did they call? Is
Soon coming.
Yeshua called the King of Kings?
Yeah.
Soon coming.
The soon coming.
The soon coming King? We throwing it out there, man. We reasoning.
I thought he was born king.
So like I told, I know y'all watching. Oh, they all.
He was born a king, but it's just like that scripture where I believe is in Romans, where it talks about when a king is born, though he may be king, he's a baby. Or, you know what I'm saying? He cannot get into his rulership until it is time for him to be there. So until he gets there, he has necessary things that has to be done before he can take over his kingdom.
That's right.
Right? Now, so then that puts us in position to say this. There have been many messiahs.
Yeah.
Right or wrong?
Yeah.
Right.
There have been many princes, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And a prince or not Nagid is one who rules, one who is appointed. Okay? We're going to leave it at that. Y'all ready? You ready, Ida? I know last time you left me sweating, girl. I mean, did you get some sleep that night? Hallelujah. All right, here we go. Let's open up the first Ezra, chapter 6. Hallelujah. I've been waiting for this one. I've been waiting. Now, before we read, Zerubbabel was around 538 BC, when this stuff was happening. Now, this ain't how long he lived. Okay, let's get that right. I'm only talking about when the restoration was taking place. Because we're talking about one of them time frames where the word was referring to when the commandment to restore. Alright? So So we look at this date. Who can go back and look right now and see who was ruling around that time? All right. I put it up there on the deal already. So I want somebody to tell me that who was ruling around that time.
King Darius, I believe.
All right. Darius was around 550 BC to 486 BC. So was he around? Cyrus was around 559 to 530. Was he around? Artaxerxes. Huh? He what? Now this say 465 to 424. Okay. Well, we're gonna see. Now this is a time frame. All right. Don't shoot me. Don't shoot me. Okay. All right. Well, we in Ezra. Where am I at? I ain't even in Ezra. You there, Brother Miguel? All right, saints, y'all got y'all pocket rope? All right, hallelujah. Now we're getting ready to read. All right. Hold up. Before we read. All right, now I'm going to point some stuff out here in Ezra. But let's look at this. Zerubbabel was from where? Look what it says up there. So was Solomon, what tribe was he from? What tribe was David from? So Zerubbabel was from who? Judah. So it's possible he can become a ruler, right? You like that, Brother Keith? Now hold tight. Now remember, we want to discern all things, right? And hold fast to what? That which is good. He was among the chief heads, returning from exile. So if we was restarting something, Mother, and we was going off of who had been around, because after all, y'all prophesied to Zerubbabel and said they had seen the glory of the prior temple before this command to restore. Right? If we was restarting something, how old are you, brother? You mind saying in front of all the sisters and brothers in here? Oh. 68. You 68, boy? No. How old are you, brother?
48.
48. Then you got Mother Marge and Mother JC. Then I think you got me. Right? How old are you, Sister King? Wait a minute. I found Sister Son. How old are you?
49.
You what? All right, Sister Son. You, how old are you, Jordan?
36.
30. When did you turn 36?
July.
All right. And how old are you, Ida? I ain't old enough. Stay wrong. 30?
36.
Oh, you 36? Okay, Kim, how old are you? 12? Huh?
28.
28, hallelujah. I ain't saying nothing, I'm just telling you. Pay attention, y'all. Hallelujah. Right. So, we would start with the elders in rebuilding, because why? Why would we start with the elders? Why would we start with Sister Ida and Josh and Raven? And why wouldn't we start with them and rebuild? Could they say it again?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh,
Why would we start with them?
Why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we?
Oh, because they don't know that.
Because they don't know nothing. What you gonna say, Brother Ron?
Because the whole head is sick. You got to clean the head up.
See, well, here we what was going on was these Zerubbabel and Yeshua. All right, now you'll see some people pronounce it Jeshua or Jeshua when we read. They were of the Davidic line, and you had Jeshua was one of the priests of Jehozadak or Jehozadak. All right. So we got some people that may know something to help reestablish. Okay. Look at the last one. Zerubbabel also received an important prophecy. Now we're going to see what that is. We talked about it last time in Haggai. All right, and we're gonna make sure that we talk about that again. We're gonna re-look at that. All right, so that we can let the folks in on, so we get good. So, let's go ahead and start reading in 1 Ezra chapter 6, verse 1.
Now in the second year of the reign of Darius.
All right, now tell us right there. Now in the second year of the reign of who?
Darius.
So it's important to us to find out what dates that Darius reigned. All right, go ahead, brother.
The prophets Haggai and Zechariah, son of Iddo, prophesied to the Jews who were in Judea and Jerusalem. They prophesied to them in the name of Yah of Israel.
Now pause. So if they prophesied it to them, then do you think they preached or prophesied of witchcraft? So obviously what is going to be told to Zerubbabel and Jeshua, all right, is going to be highly important. Finish reading.
Then Zerubbabel, son of Shealtiel, and Jeshua, son of Jozadak, began to build the house of Yah that is in Jerusalem, with the help of the prophets of Yahweh who were with them. At the same time, Cincinus, the governor of Syria and Phoenicia, and Zatharbuzan and their associates came to them and said, "By whose order are you building this house and this roof and finishing all the other things? And who are the builders that are finishing these things?" Yet the elders of the Jews were dealt with kindly, for the providence of Yahweh was over the captives. They were not prevented from building until the word could be sent to Darius concerning them and a report made. A copy of the letter that Cincinus, the governor of Syria and Phoenicia, and Zatharbuzan and their associates, the local rulers in Syria and Phoenicia, wrote and sent to Darius. To King Darius, greeting. Let it be fully known to our Lord the King that when we went to the country of Judea and entered the city of Jerusalem, we found the elders of the Jews who have been in exile, building in the city of Jerusalem a great new house for their Elohim of hewn stone, with costly timber laid in the walls. These operations are going on rapidly, and the work is prospering in their hands and being completed with all splendor and care. Then we asked these elders, at whose command are you building this house?
Now pause. He said, at what?
Whose command are you building this house? Are we building?
Because that question is going to be important later on. He used the word. And what word did he use, Brother King? Command. So in that, there is something that we're going to have to ask ourselves at the end of the study today. And we're going to have to ask ourselves according to what we find out concerning when did the 70 weeks start. so that we can know when did it end. Did it end when the Messiah got taken up? Well, we know that it said at the end of the 62 weeks, the Messiah shall be taken up. And then in 1 week, they shall make a covenant with all the leaders. See, people use that as something that's happening at the end time to explain that there's going to be 7 years, right, of tribulation. And in 3.5 weeks, at 3.5 years, it's going to be a rapture. And then, it's so much out there, man, you can get lost. All right? But that's why Israel, it's your job to seek and search this out. I'm boring you, Mother JC, or hurting your head? Oh, hallelujah. Huh? All right. Let's finish. That was at verse, he was at verse 11. I got it.
Then we asked these elders, at whose command are you building this house and laying the foundations of this structure? In order that we might inform you in writing who the leaders are, requesting them and ask them for a list of the name of those who are at their head. They answered us, we are the servants of Yahweh, who created the heaven and the earth. The house was built many years ago by a king of Israel, who was great and strong, and it was finished. But when our ancestors sinned against Yahweh of Israel, who is in heaven, and provoked him, he gave them over into the hands of King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon, king of the Chaldeans. And they pulled down the house, and they burned it, and carried the people away captive to Babylon. But in the first year that Cyrus reigned over the country of Babylonia, King Cyrus wrote that this house should be rebuilt. And the holy vessels of gold and silver, which Nebuchadnezzar had taken out of the house in Jerusalem and stored in its own temple, these King Cyrus took out again from the temple in Babylon. And they were delivered to Zerubbabel and Sheshbazzar, the governor